is a non-government organization who supports the growth of the Israeli high-tech ecosystem. So thanks again for being with me here today. And today our topics will be exits within the agri sector or agri-tech sector. And I guess that you all know, since you're here, that this is quite a problem in our sector. Today this conference is actually celebrating its 10th anniversary. And the term agtech has been around for, let's say, 12 years. Nevertheless, while investments are going up and up, we don't see enough exits in the field. This is what we want to discuss about today. So in Israel, we have a very nice and interesting example of Prospera Technologies, who was acquired by Valmont for $300 million a year and a half ago. But we don't see it as often, as much. We do see some exits, lower scale, let's say. So what do you think about it? Why do you think that is? Shubhang, would you like to start?
Sure, we have an hour, right, for this?
We have 20 minutes.
Okay. Look, I think you've framed the problem absolutely correctly. I think the sector does have a problem with exits, and I think one of the factors is that it is still not seeing the kind of interest we would want to see from generalist funds, later stage funds, because very often they are not convinced whether their the exit profile in this sector is similar to what they can get in other places. And I'm sure we'll have a discussion here, so I'll leave it to the panelists. But my take is that you use the term agtech, and I think when it comes to exits, it's only ag and very little of tech. So it's the same old agricultural companies who are acquiring. It's not really, and I don't want to put Ranveer on the spot, but the tech companies, they have not really shown at the moment that they are going ahead and acquiring companies in the space. I think there are a lot of reasons for that, and very good reasons for that. I think the first wave of exits were made under the assumption that an ag company could become a tech company, that we would get into selling services, technology services. And I think it's been very difficult for ag companies, and really for any economy company, to become a genuine tech company. So now we are still seeing that people are having questions that, look, can we really sell technology as a business model, or should we revert to what we know, which is selling products, and hence we only look at acquiring stuff that helps us make better products. So I think the sector is at that kind of a crossroads for sure.
Kova?
Yeah, from my point of view, one of the reasons by which this happened is because agriculture sector is one of the latest sectors in terms of digitalization. And I feel like there is still a lack of understanding about the sector, about a lot of investors, for example, that are used to invest in later stage rounds, but they are trying to apply the same logic that maybe they apply for other sectors, where the type of mindset of the consumer or the product cycle is very, very different. So this can be one of the reasons by which everything is in more delay. In addition to that, I'm talking about the European market where we have activities. I think that also we are lacking some ecosystem development. Still, the VC market is not as developed as in the US, for example. And also even the financial background of the startups that are playing a role in this sector space still is missing behind. So I feel like from the European side, we are missing some development, also more collaboration with the government institutions that should drive and develop this market to make sure that exit will be possible in the future.
That's what we all want. Ranveer, yeah? Can you add?
Yeah, no, I agree with both your points. And, I think the problem with so first, I think this is very early. AgTech space is still early. We still have a long way to go. And we are seeing the sector evolve very fast. The capabilities of the companies evolve very fast. Like some of the demos I saw here, just to pick on one, your investment, C3, I love what they were showing and the kind of improvement that you're seeing in the tech that these companies have had. And that's one thing we'll continue to see. That is this, and I know we'll discuss this further as to where's this sector headed. But this is still early. We are seeing a lot of churn, lot of advancements happening. That said, I agree, Shubhang, with one thing you said, that the companies are trying to be everything themselves. A lot of times, they're trying to be a tech company, but they're being but it's still an ag company per se. And one of the things we see as Microsoft, now, one of the questions you could ask is, hey, what is Microsoft doing in agriculture? We are not an agriculture company. And I don't think we ever will. But the point is, we are developing a lot of tech that could be useful to the ag companies. We'll never sell anything to farmers. We'll not build a lot of the capabilities that our startups are building here. But this is an opportunity for startups to come work with big tech companies and that's what we'll see evolve. Even for Microsoft, the ag tech space is very new. Many of the industry work is new. So overall, I'm bullish on what's happening. I think it's still early. A lot of what has happened until now has been more traditional ag as opposed to ag tech, the exits. But I think we'll see more of the ag tech exits in the next 5 years.
Yeah, definitely there is place for growth and for development, which will hopefully move the needle forward, more and more exits in the future. We didn't really touch the point of, is it a real structural problem, or is it something that is going to solve itself in a way? From your answers, I would say it's going to solve itself, hopefully. I guess we all hope that this is the case. Nevertheless, there is a lot more to do. And we are a bit struggling with the time here, so let's jump to our next topic. I want to understand from you, from your assessments, if you see today any specific areas or segments within AgTech who have higher potential or higher probability to exit in the near future. So we mentioned at the beginning of the day, I don't know if all of you were here, but we've shown a landscape, AgTech landscape of Israeli innovation with 6 major segments who are part of it. So you know all of them is at least as good as me. Robotics, ag biotechnology, precision ag, and others, supply chain optimization, of course. So today, from your experience, from the things that you do and see in your daily work or career, can you signal out a specific segment which have higher probability to exit? It's complicated, but yeah, please.
Okay. So I'll cheat a little bit and I'll lay down a principle and then maybe we'll arrive at a sector. I think in agriculture and for farmers, innovation is packed into a physical product. I mean, that's what the agriculture sector has been for the past 50 plus years. Better chemicals, better seeds, better machines. So I think because you use the term near term, I think those who have the best opportunities to exit are those who will have a physical product of some kind around it. So I think it is easier to exit if you are producing a physical product that farmers can need rather than a service, which is, you becoming a mini technology company. And I'll take a tangible example. Many of the companies and many of the innovation here is based on, machine vision, right? You could sell machine vision and imagery and analytics to farmers, or you could slap on, let's say, a precision spraying system on it and sell it as a product. And I think the opportunity to exit and the opportunity for success is more for the latter group. Take a capability, slap a physical product around it, sell it to the farmer, and basically he never has to see you again. I think that's more likely to yield a better exit. So anything around machinery, robotics, or ag biotechnology that leads to a product, which is also in line with what the traditional industry has been selling, that in the near term, I think that has a better opportunity to exit.
But just to comment on that, taking this approach, we are still staying in the ag part rather than in moving to the tech part.
In the near term, yes, that's my view.
I assume that this will make more. It will be easier for companies like Syngenta, for example, to tackle this type of problem because it suits your model and your way of doing business today. But moving forward and thinking maybe about Ranveer and also Kubota and Kova and their needs in everything related to data and how to utilize data in order to benefit farmers and the entire sector. So maybe they will have some other segments within the sector that can be more prone to exit.
Yeah, from our side, robotics it will be one of the most successful cases, we believe, because at the end of the day, we interview every time growers all over the world to identify the pain points, and the labor shortage is one of them, which is highlighted everywhere. So for companies like us, it's very important, the automation, this topic. And I totally agree with Shubhang's comment related to in the next short term, the product, something tangible will be the one who drives more success. Because for companies like us, which we are very traditional and mainly selling hardware, we need a digital transformation. So it will take some time to develop these more software and data skills, but we are working for that also.
That's interesting to hear. My take is different. I think the next space which will probably see some exit is in the ESG space, more likely. Now that as COP27 is happening, a lot of companies, and this might come not even from the traditional ag players, you might see an exit from the food CPG space, or maybe even the tech space, where there is a lot of increased need to have more visibility around reporting, around just being greener. And many other companies are investing, and I think they need a solution fast. And there are some interesting startups happening, some here as well as in different parts of the world. And I think that space would see some exit. From Microsoft's own perspective, one of the things we feel, and this is going back to the previous question, a big reason ag tech companies are not really taking off is the lack of data. And we say we are getting a lot of data, but we're really missing out on a lot of data from the farms. And there is a good reason, right? More than 40% of the world's population doesn't have internet access. In the US, there was a USDA study which said 70% of US farms don't have internet. If you don't get the data, how will you drive the insights? People are trying to do workarounds around it, but they're still workarounds. And that's the biggest problem with ag tech. Right now, my team looks at different industries, and I think that's the issue with ag tech. If anyone can really solve that, I think that will be a big breakthrough, and that might see a huge exit and can really drive a big disruption in the ag tech space.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think this is also a point for call for action, even I would say, for startups in the field, not to target only the end user of the technology or the product that you are developing, but also think about the back end and what you have there. It's gold. It's basically gold. If you are developing today unique data sets that can be utilized in various applications and algorithms, like the ones Microsoft are building, and they maybe support big corporates within the ag industry, you have a lot of potential there.
Yeah, and just to add to that, one of the big things happening in AI, which I didn't see yet here, but I'm sure there must be people thinking about it, is in AI we are seeing this disruption with large models, like what GPT-3 and others are doing. Those are still platforms. How will that disrupt agriculture is something that's going to come really fast. So there are lots of opportunities in the data AI space. I'm not saying ag companies need to build those foundation models. They take a huge amount of GPUs and money to really train them. But the applications of that is something that will come over the next couple of years.
What about potential for additional type of acquirers to be part of the game that we are playing in a way here? Is that something that you see as tangible, something that could happen in the near future? It, of course, can come or relate to data, but maybe to other things as well. Is that something that you feel, that you think is soon? Please?
Okay, I could answer. Microsoft acquired Nuance, which is a health company, for not a complete health company, it's a health tech company, for $20 billion, very close to that. So these things are, of course, you have to show sustained revenue, you have to be that player in the industry, and then these kind of exits happen. I think ag tech is still a bit early for those kind of large exits, but who knows, things like that can happen. I'm bullish on the sector. And because it's just so fundamental, we need a big disruption in the ag space. And once it happens, we'll start seeing those kind of exits in other domains. I think in the short term, as I mentioned, it's the food CPG industry, which has a real need for a lot of the tech that is being developed here in Israel, for example.
In addition to the food industry, there is also potential, at least from my point of view, to financial players, to businesses in the insurance and financial space as a whole. I think more and more interest. Is that something that you feel as well?
Yes, and here's my take. The empirical evidence, I think, will say that most of the exits that have happened so far have been to the traditional incumbent industry in the ag input space. So you can literally list them down and say that, look, there are a handful of IPOs and SPACs that happened in the last year, but traditionally exits have happened to the incumbent industry. So as an investor, even if I'm a CVC investor, I am actually very, very open, and I would really welcome if other acquirers were to step up. So yes, absolutely. I think banks, insurance companies, but I think they will play in a very specific area. So I mean, why would a bank acquire, I don't know, a robotics company? I don't see the fit. But a bank, could it acquire an agri-fintech? Yes, absolutely. Could a financial institution acquire a insurance company? Yes. But I think I'd really love to see private equity firms step up. I would like to see a broader base of acquirers to basically overcome this empirical constraint that we have. Absolutely.
Kova, anything to add on that?
Yeah, maybe from my side, I'm also bullish on the sector, and we are seeing new players entering into the sector every time. For example, we are finding sometimes in the round investment bankers that were traditionally not investing in the sector and in so early stage companies. And now we are sometimes co-investing with them. So for me, this is also an example of the value that they see there, because at the end of the day, I think if they are starting to move toward that part of the space, it means that they can envisage successful exits at the end of the year.
Okay, so we have only about 5 minutes left, so we want to jump to the next topic. Shubhang, you just started talking about IPOs and the SPACs and things that we've seen in 2021 happening quite a lot. Considering today's macro environment, financial, but also everything related to global warming and other various crises that we are seeing, where do you see potential for more ag exits in this macro environment? That's something that you can, you have.
By where do you mean? By what process? Like M&A, IPO, or sector? Because we touched upon it, or geography.
So today, or let's say that there will be no, in the near future, there will be no more IPOs or SPACs. Very near future, maybe in a year or
yeah,
so.
I agree.
Is that something that you believe can change somehow what we see today in the industry, where there are no exits? Maybe that can ignite something new, or only negative from here?
Hopefully not negative, and it's tough to call things at any point in the cycle. I think what it will lead to, hopefully, is more M&A activity with perhaps incumbents also seeing that, look, valuations are reasonable. So I think when you acquire a company to do an M&A, you are valuation sensitive. So perhaps paradoxically, declining valuations, a tough funding environment could spark more exits. Would it spark more billions and multi-billion-dollar exits? Perhaps not. But perhaps we will see a lot of companies deciding that, look, an M&A or an acquisition or a majority stake sale to a big partner is the way to go.
Yeah. Any other trends that Kova or Ranveer that you recognize that can have an impact on agtech exits?
Yeah, I also agree with the fact that I think the next exit will come from M&A opportunities. The public markets, I think they are practically closed right now, and I really believe that they will continue to show in the next short term because of this macroeconomic uncertainty. But for companies, traditional players in the ag space like us, for example, I think it would be a really nice opportunity, because we are not caring so much, for example, as strategic investors, about the financial return, and we really want to collaborate with innovative startups. So for us, would be this situation more an opportunity than anything. So I agree with Shubhang.
Ranveer?
I agree with all the points you made.
Great. So we are still on time, and for our last minute or so, I want to try something. Let's see if it will work. I'm gonna ask you a short question. Each and every one of you need to answer in only one word. I will help you, don't worry. But, okay, here we go. Next big agtech acquisition will be IPO or M&A?
M&A.
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 Okay, that's not fun. You need to say something different. Okay, the subsector most likely to see more exits in the near future. One subsector, you choose.
Robotics.
Climate tech, ESG.
Climate tech, okay. And?
Need to say something else, right?
Yeah, whatever you want,
Okay.
whatever you think.
I think we will see something in biologicals.
Biological.
Biological.
Agbiotech.
Agbiotech.
Okay, interesting. Next big agtech exits will be above or below $300 million mark.
Like, when you say big and then you put a number, are you paradoxing?
300 million mark, more or above or below?
Below.
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 Yeah, I think so, below.
Yeah, okay, not very optimistic.
I'm Indian.
The next agtech acquirer will be a traditional ag business, yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.